Some of your most expensive financial habits started before you were 25, and they have been running quietly ever since. If you have ever looked at your bank account and thought, I make decent money, so why does it feel like I am always behind? This video is the answer. Think about the money habits you have right now. The way you handle your savings account, your insurance, your credit card payments, your investing. When did you start those habits? For most women in their 30s, the honest answer is sometime in their 20s, usually early 20s. Before they had a real income, before they had real expenses, before they had any information to make different choices. And the thing about habits is they do not announce themselves. They do not send a reminder that says, hey, you started this in 2018 and it is still running. They just run. This video is about 7 of those habits, the ones that form quietly and stay quietly, and cost you in ways that do not show up as one dramatic mistake. They show up as a slow, invisible drain. No shame in this. I want to say that clearly before we start. These habits make sense for who you were when you started them. They just have not been updated for who you are now. So, let us update them. Habit 1. Auto-renewing insurance on a policy you have never gone back to look at. When you got your car insurance, your renter's insurance, your health insurance, you probably shopped around. You compared prices, found something that worked, and signed up. And then life kept moving. And every year since then, it has quietly renewed, at the original rate, which is almost certainly not the best rate available to you today. Insurance companies are not rewarded for finding you the best price. They are rewarded for keeping you enrolled. The people who get the best rates are the people who call and ask, or who switch. The average person overpays on car insurance by $400 to $800 a year, just by never revisiting the policy. That is a number worth one phone call. The fix here is not complicated. Once a year, you spend 20 minutes getting a competitive quote. That is the whole habit update. Habit 2. Keeping your savings in the default account your bank gave you when you opened your checking account. When most banks set you up with a savings account, they give you an interest rate somewhere between 0.01 and 0.05%. That is not a typo. That is 1 cent on every $100 per year. High-yield savings accounts at online banks are currently paying somewhere between 4 and 5%. That is not a little bit better. That is hundreds of times better. On $10,000 in savings, the difference between a default bank account and a high-yield savings account is approximately $400 per year, just sitting there, every year, for doing nothing except moving the money. This is one of the easiest financial wins available. It takes about 15 minutes to open a high-yield savings account and set up a transfer, and then it just works. You do not have to close your current savings account. You do not have to change your checking. You just open a second account at an online bank and move your savings there. Habit 3. Making the minimum payment on debt as a permanent strategy rather than a temporary one. Minimum payments are designed to keep you in debt. That is not a cynical take. It is literally how they are structured. The minimum payment on a credit card is typically 1 to 2% of the balance. At a 20% interest rate, making only the minimum payment means most of what you pay every month is going to interest, not to the balance. A $5,000 balance at 20% interest, paying only the minimum each month, takes over 20 years to pay off and costs you more than $8,000 in interest alone. The same $5,000 paid off in 24 months costs about $560 in interest total. The minimum payment habit usually starts when money is tight. That makes sense. But it becomes a problem when money gets better and the habit stays. When the minimum payment becomes the default long after you could afford to pay more. The fix is to decide what you are actually paying on each debt and automate that amount, not the minimum. The actual amount you have decided to pay. Habit 4. Intending to start investing and never actually starting. This is the most expensive habit on this list. Not because it costs money you are spending, because it costs money you are not making. If you invest $300 a month starting at age 28 versus starting at age 33, same $300, same rate of return, the person who started at 28 ends up with approximately $200,000 more at age 60. $200,000 from a 5-year head start. The habit of delay is the habit of taking that money and handing it back. And the reason most people delay is not that they do not want to invest. It is that the first step feels complicated. What account do I open? What do I invest in? Do I need to understand the market? The answer is 1 index fund, 1 automatic transfer, 1 afternoon to set it up. That is it. The first move is just deciding that today is the day you stop intending and start. Habit 5. Paying for access to things you no longer use at a level that made sense for a previous version of your life. This one is less about any single subscription and more about the pattern. The gym membership from 3 years ago, the streaming service you added during a free trial, the premium plan on an app you use twice a month, the meal kit service you meant to cancel. None of these are embarrassing. They happen to everyone. But they accumulate, and they auto-renew. The average person has somewhere between 4 and 6 recurring charges they have forgotten about. At an average of $15 to $30 each, that is potentially $100 to $200 a month in spending that is happening without a decision. The fix is a spending audit, not a budget overhaul. Just a single scan through your last 2 months of bank and credit card statements with one question in mind. Did I choose this month, or did it just happen? Anything in the second category gets evaluated. Some of it you will keep. Some of it you will cancel. Either way, you are making a choice instead of repeating a habit. Habit 6. Every raise getting fully absorbed by lifestyle before it ever reaches savings or investing. This is the lifestyle creep habit, and it is worth naming directly because it is the one that catches the most financially responsible people off guard. You get a raise. You are doing well. You spend a little more on rent, a little more on food, a nicer car, a few more trips. None of these things are irresponsible individually, but if every income increase gets fully absorbed by lifestyle before any of it reaches savings, your savings rate stays flat, even as your income grows. The fix is a rule. Every time your income goes up, 50% of the increase goes to savings or investing before your lifestyle has a chance to adjust. Not all of it, half. You still get to enjoy the raise, but you also capture the part that compounds. If you got a $6,000 annual raise, that is $500 a month. Under this rule, $250 goes to your future. $250 goes to your life. One decision made once, when you get the raise, and then automated so you do not have to make it again. Habit 7. Making financial decisions based on what you remember your finances looking like, rather than what they actually look like. This is the quietest habit on the list, and possibly the most costly. Most people have a general sense of their finances. They know roughly what comes in, roughly what goes out, roughly what is in the account. But rough estimates are not the same as data, and financial decisions made from rough estimates are often off by enough to matter. The woman who thinks she is saving about $400 a month, but has not checked in 6 months, might actually be saving $150. The woman who thinks her subscriptions total about $80 might be at $230. Not because she has been careless, because life is busy and memory is generous. The fix is a monthly review. Not a budget deep dive, not a spreadsheet overhaul. Just 15 minutes, once a month, looking at 3 things: what came in, what went out, and what is the actual current balance in savings. 15 minutes, once a month. So, 7 habits. You have heard all of them now, and I want to give you something specific to do with that. The 10-minute habit audit. 3 questions, and you only need your phone and your most recent bank statement to answer them. Question 1. When did I last look at my insurance rates? If the answer is more than 12 months ago, that is your action item. 1 quote, 1 call. Question 2. What interest rate is my savings account earning? If you do not know, look it up right now. If it is under 4%, that is your action item. Open a high-yield savings account this week. Question 3. Is there a subscription or recurring charge that auto-renewed this month that I did not actively choose? Scroll your statement. If there is one, and there usually is at least one, cancel it or consciously decide to keep it. That is it. 3 questions, 10 minutes. Not all 7 habits at once. Just the 3 that are most likely to move your money in the next 30 days. The thing about money habits is they are not a reflection of who you are. They are a reflection of what information you had when you started them. You have more information now. If one of those 7 habits showed up somewhere in your life today, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send them this video.